Hello again. How's everybody doing out there? We are the Agents of Helm. I am Malik, and I will be bringing you this group talking about our weekly roundup. So, without further ado, let's go back. Let's go into the. Hold on, let me start over.
Take two.
Start over. All right. It's been a week. We haven't done this in a while.
It's all good.
Hello again. How's everybody doing out there? Welcome back. We are the Agents of Helm, and this is our weekly episode. This is our show where we go into the week that was, the week that is, what's coming up in news and entertainment and things of that sort. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce the agents, starting with Lorenzo.
Hello, everybody.
And of course we have Joe.
What's up, people?
And last but not least, we have the baker extraordinaire, Johanna.
Hey.
So, and I actually do mean that, people. If you guys get an opportunity to, Johanna, you should start taking pictures of the cakes and posting them up, like before they're eaten. You should do that. I think that would, we're telling the fans, that we love you. You should start posting the pictures of it. I think that would work.
I'll put them on Pinterest
Yeah, there you go.
with recipes. Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this has been a relatively slow season, I guess, for movies. Record-setting slow season for movies, which is kind of the reason why we haven't had an episode in the last couple of weeks with our weeklies. So we're not even going to touch base on the box office because we do not really care what happened in the box office. I'm sure that maybe some of us or some of you have gone out and seen movies, and if you want us to talk about it, feel free to send us a message, and then we will, reluctantly watch it, and then we'll talk about it. But other than that, we have no interest in anything related to what's going on the silver screen.
Guardian of the Galaxy, #1.
Yeah, once again.
Go see it.
And I finally saw it, and it rocked my world.
Oh my God! So that's something that we should talk about because I didn't realize you had finally seen it.
Oh, haha.
Well,
Yeah.
we did do a whole Guardians of the Galaxy episode, but let's give Johanna a couple minutes to talk about Guardians.
Yeah, I don't want to take up too much time.
Like, 2 sentences. What'd you think?
It rocked my world. I felt things for Chris Pratt. How's that?
It's great. That's fine.
Masters of Sex type of things?
Zoe Saldana, too. Yes. I didn't realize. I mean, I've seen him on Parks and Rec, and I'm like, oh, you're a schlub. You're kind of cute with your schlub. And then in Guardians of the Galaxy, it's like, damn. So yeah.
I'm sure your husband was very happy to hear that.
He likes Zoe Saldana, so he's
Who doesn't like Zoe Saldana?
Who doesn't? She's really hot.
Yes, yeah, she is.
I agree.
Well, that was a great rundown for our top 10. It's such a horrible week. But that does mean that the end of the summer movie season does mean that we are starting to venture into the new shows, brand new shows coming out on network television and cable and and the like. So without going into it too deep, are there any shows that you guys are interested in watching? Joe, how about yourself?
There's 2 that I'm looking forward to. We have The Flash, which starts, I believe, October 8th, which coincides with the same week as New York Comic Con. I'm looking forward to The Flash, and I'm looking forward to seeing Gotham, which is going to premiere on Fox, I believe, at the end of this month, September. So those are the 2 that I'm really looking forward to, especially Flash being the spin-off of a show that I already love, Arrow. That also returns October 8th. Be sure to watch that. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the spinoff. I can't wait for the crossover episode that happens before Christmas. It'll be episode 8 of each show, Flash and Arrow, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And obviously Gotham, the story of Commissioner Gordon and his search for Bruce's parents' killer. So yeah. killer or killers. I'm not sure yet, but I can't wait to see either one of them. It's gonna be I have high hopes for both.
That's interesting. I'm really excited for this episode of The Flash that's coming up, where they're kind of reuniting the stars of Prison Break, which is a very good show.
Yes,
A very good
yes.
show. I absolutely love that show.
Yeah, I believe Wentworth Miller is gonna play. Is he play Mr. Cold or Captain Cold or whatever it is?
Yeah, he's gonna play Captain Cold, and Dominic Purcell is going to play Heatwave.
Heatwave, right? So the Burroughs brothers are back.
Yeah, so I can't wait. I hope that they're actually going to be on the same episode together. And that'll be real fun. That'll be a lot of fun.
It'll be a lot of fun when they put him in a jail cell. That'll be hilarious.
Like, damn it, again. Oh, man. So, Johanna, are there any shows that you were interested in? Anything that you were looking forward to in this fall season?
Well, I'm definitely a fan of the Mindy Project. Huge fan of the Mindy Project. I make an effort to watch it every single week. Also, Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec is coming back, right? I mean, it's its final season, but I'm not sure when it's coming back. Well, since I talked about Chris Pratt, but I really like that show as well. I especially love Ben, who's a bit of a nerd, and bought himself an Iron Throne, or got one last season, and I was very jealous.
Yeah, he got that for his birthday gift, I believe, or anniversary gift or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure about the whole triplet storyline, but it's cool. I'm here for Donna too. So Donna is I love her. I'm also interested in the show Utopia. Do you guys know about that show? The name is intriguing. The pictures I've seen are intriguing, but I don't really know that much about it.
Who's in
It's a
it?
reality TV show with people.
It's a reality show on Fox.
It's so contrived. I mean, it looks like a bunch of stereotypes. Like they got together a bunch of stereotypes and they put them in a world together. So,
and do they create the utopia, or are there rules to it?
So
I
basically,
think utopia might be, not quite the most accurate word for whatever it is they create.
So basically, what they're supposed to create, it takes 15 people. They leave their lives behind or whatever, and they go. I don't know exactly where they're dropping them, but they basically drop them in this area where they're supposed to create their own little mini society.
Oh.
And so we watch them over the course of a year. And at this place, there's no rules and there's no laws. So they're pretty much they're able to, they have to come up with their own, form of governing themselves. They have to, figure out how to survive, basically survive, and then create their own utopia, their own world, that the inhabitants can all live in together. So that's all. It does. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting because it's kind of I guess when you strip people away from what they know, and then kind of force them to figure things out on their own. I guess maybe that's interesting. I have no interest in watching it. Just generally because I'm not a huge fan of network reality shows, and I'm not a huge fan of Fox shows either. So.
Yeah, because there's this whole filter, right? When these kind of reality shows are on network TV, they have a certain set of rules they need to go by as a network that cable does not. So I can imagine that this is very watered down. Not to mention the fact that they're trying to recreate thousands of years of the development of human civilization to create their own laws. I think it would be pretty funny if they ended up being anarchists. I feel like the network would shut it down. All right, it's over.
Yeah, this has probably already been filmed. It's probably all been filmed already, so you just need the final product.
Edit it however they want.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a bummer. So.
Any other new shows or any other shows that you?
By the way, it didn't rate too high as far as ratings go.
Yeah.
Even less reason
it
to
has
watch
premiered.
it.
So you may never see the end of this utopia.
That's good. Yeah, that would That'd be too bad.
I mean, how about a show called Dystopia, where you really try to extrapolate the most fucked up version of the world from our current reality?
I think
That
that's
might be
called
cool.
New York.
That might also be called my book.
I think it might be called Real Housewives of whatever.
Isn't that kind of like what Survivor does, though? Like it drops these people into kind of a world where they don't. Like, I mean, as far as Utopia and Survivor, like, aren't they the same type of show?
Except that there are rules already established within Survivor, I believe.
Oh, there are. I've never watched one season of Survivor.
I mean, they've got like tribal council, and they've got all these challenges. There's a structure to the world. I'm giving these shows way too much fucking
You're talking
credit,
about
by the way.
Survivor?
But there's a structure. Yeah.
Can we just
Yeah,
do
and they
some
also
random,
play games. They have like games.
Yeah, they have. I found myself watching Big Brother the other day. That's what I got to say. That's the end of
I
this-
watched the
this
first.
story.
Yeah.
They were doing a game where they had to take water from one side of a slope to another side of a slope, and it was snowing, or there was like fake snow or something, really slippery, and short shorts, and they were like falling on the ground. There was a lot of slow motion shots of them like getting back up. Interest for 5 minutes.
Well, I'm not interested in Utopia anymore, but I am watching Walking Dead this season, so I like.
In past seasons.
Yes, I'm watching the past seasons. I'm pulling a Joe, and I'm watching them fast forward style in terms of just compressing all of these episodes. I really liked the trailer that I saw from Comic-Con last year, and I am interested in watching the show.
For The Walking Dead?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just the first episode was so slow, and I never watched the rest, and now I feel like I can't catch up, but I'll be able to catch up now. And I also like Daryl. The actor is very attractive. He was in the Lady Gaga video for Judas. He was Judas, and he was very cute.
Was he?
Yes,
Norman
he was.
Reedus? Wow.
Yeah, he was Judas. Like it was this whole, like, the disciples were this motorcycle gang, and he was Judas, and he was in his leather and his motorcycle and everything.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You should watch Blade 2 then.
You know, I think I've seen it, and I didn't and I Boondock Saints, I know, like.
Yeah, he was Scud in Blade 2.
Oh.
He didn't play a really. His character in there was really weak.
I mean, I love Blade, and I know I saw that film, but I don't remember him.
Yeah, that's what happens when you turn on Blade. He got what was coming to him.
So Lorenzo, how about yourself? Are there any shows outside of anything that you've already seen, or shows that are coming up this fall season that you're interested in watching?
Well, I'm really excited about. It's already started, but Boardwalk Empire. Boardwalk Empire kicked off this week on HBO, and that's got me super excited. I'm ready for Boardwalk Empire to start up. Yeah, it was also the season finale this week of y'all's favorite show, Joe's favorite show, The Leftovers.
How long did it take you to fall asleep?
Joe, this is the season finale of The Leftovers, and say what you will, the show has been getting better and better and better. Last week, they did a flashback scene, which kind of slowed down the pace a little bit because. Are we gonna do this? Am I gonna talk about Leftovers?
So yeah.
I guess so.
Would you like to give me a more proper introduction?
Well, I was actually hoping that you would do your rundown of Boardwalk Empire, and then we could run into.
All right, sure.
I figured you were going to do a Boardwalk Empire intro first, because we were talking about new shows, and then.
Yeah, I'll do it.
And then from there we'll lead into Leftovers.
Okay, so Right. So I'm really excited that Boardwalk Empire kicked off this week on HBO, of course, and yeah, they did something really interesting. I thought they basically fast forward 7 years, and basically starts off with a splash. You see Nucky diving for dollar coins with other boys. So it starts off with a flashback, and we see this kid who looks a lot like a bug-eyed Buscemi. I could imagine the casting that went on. You know, we need bigger eyes, they kept saying. We see him a few times getting outclassed by other kids. It's sort of the motif of the flashbacks are that the other kids are faster than him, they're bigger than him. But of course, after a while in the flashbacks, we see how he finally gets over on them by playing a long con instead of going for the quick gratification. He returns a $50 bill that he finds to some big shots, and eventually that gets him a job with the Commodore. Now, I'm not sure if you guys watch, I forget if you guys watch Boardwalk Empire or not. The Commodore is this basically one of the bosses of I guess the boss before Nucky came around. He was the boss of the Boardwalk. What is a Commodore anyway? I just know it as like a computer.
It's a bird. Oh wait, no, it's not. It's a naval rank. Yeah, it's a rank in the Navy.
Something above an admiral?
I believe so. Yes, maybe.
Anyway, so present day. We see present day being 7 years after season 4 left off. So that's 1931. There's a depression. How do we know there's the depression? Because Margaret's boss at the stone brokerage gives a lively speech about how important it is to keep a sunny disposition, and then shoots himself in the head in front of the whole company. I'm hearing a little bit of like somebody's microphone like popping. It sounds like.
Did it stop?
Right when you said stop, it did it again. So I'm not sure. That's what you mean.
Did it stop now? It hasn't been doing it the whole time. Maybe it's not me.
Anyway, Nucky sees the future and knows that America is going to be repealing prohibition. So he's in Cuba blackmailing politicians, trying to lock down Bacardi to be the sole distributor of Bacardi as soon as things go legal, prohibition gets repealed. And this happens to be around the same time of some of those pesky Cuban revolutions. Amid all the chaos, Nucky almost gets killed, but he's got this new badass bodyguard that comes out of nowhere. There's the guy with the killer with the butcher knife. He takes the butcher knife from the killer, jabs the butcher knife in the killer's head, and then commences to cutting off the would-be killer's ear. And I'm not sure what he does with it. He keeps it, I guess, souvenir. We also see Chalky. You guys remember Chalky in Prison Stripes? Chalky. Malik, do you watch Boardwalk Empire?
He must have stepped away. He's on mute.
Oh, I see how it is. Anyway, so Chalky is from The Wire. He is Omar from The Wire. And he's in prison. He's in Prison Stripes. He got himself caught. That's what he says. Got myself caught. And that's all we get for an explanation as to why he's in prison. Again, this is 7 years since the last episode. We see him in prison. But it doesn't matter because nobody keeps Chalky in the corner. Prison break. Chalky shoots a cracker in the face. Gets in good with this talky type guy who doesn't understand how they fit people inside of telephones. And apparently there's some money somewhere that he wants to get, and he takes Chalky along to handle the phones and such because he doesn't understand how phones work. So he needs to go somewhere, get the phone stuff, and this is happening during prison break. Chalky's like, sure, I'll go with you. So they take off together. They disappear into the swampy marsh. What else happens? Oh, and Lucky Luciano gets inducted into the Black Hand, the Costa Nostra, the Mafia. Mm-hmm. We see him set up his old boss. Looks like he's gonna pull Don Corleone. Was he the one that went into the bathroom and got the gun and then came out and shoot? Or that was Michael, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he looks like he's gonna pull a Michael. He goes into the bathroom, But then some guys come in and they take out his old boss. Yeah, you kind of knew it was coming, and I guess it's surprising that it took so long to happen. But yep, he's dead. And Lucky Luciano is now a big-time mafia guy. And yeah, and so the episode ends with Nucky still in Cuba. He's still with what's her name, Patricia Arquette. They still got a thing going on. It's kind of weird though because she ends up going home with the bodyguard, the guy that took the dude's ear off. Yeah, so I don't know what that's about. Malik, you're back. Do you watch Boardwalk Empire?
I've only seen the first season of it. I wasn't able to catch on to it early. Actually, I didn't know about it for a while. And then when I finally found out about it, I watched the first season. I really did like it. But now, and I just couldn't find out when it was on. So now, like it's in this last season, I'm just gonna kind of wait it out, and then I'm just gonna binge watch it to kind of, you know, catch all the way up to what's going on. I really did like this. Is Michael Shannon still in it or no?
Is that Chalky? Because I was just talking about Chalky.
Michael Shannon he's the cop, I think he is. In the very first season, he's like the main cop guy.
He's Nucky's brother.
Yes.
They didn't show him in this episode. They showed him as a young child.
Is he still? So his character's still around and still alive and stuff like that. Okay.
We don't know. They haven't shown him. Nucky's in Cuba. You don't see a whole lot of present day Atlantic City in this one because they show a brokerage where Nucky's ex-wife works, Margaret, and she is that's in New York. You see Lucky Luciano, and I think Lucky is in Chicago, I think. And you see a flashback to Atlantic City back when Nucky and his little brother were kids, and their sister having to deal with their mean dad. We get to see how Nucky meets the Commodore. Yeah, but we don't really. I'm trying to think. We don't really get to see much of present day Atlantic City. So to answer your question, I don't know what his brother's up to at this point.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, well, the reason why I brought up Chalky was just because, as you know, he was Omar in The Wire.
In The Wire, right? Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and so you get to see him break out of prison in this first episode. They don't tell us. So that's where it started with the bang, started with the splash. I'm looking forward to another great season. Yes.
That's good. All right, so we're gonna stay with you, Lorenzo, as we segue from shows that we want to see to shows that we are currently watching. So, we want to. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Let's get this over with really fast. And we're going to let Lorenzo give us the season finale of The Leftovers and tell us how amazing and interesting and breathtaking it was. And let's see if he can convince in this his synopsis can convince Joe to turn back and start watching it again. Go ahead, Lorenzo.
Yeah, I am fine with Joe not watching. He doesn't deserve to watch it. As far as I'm concerned, watch television greatness. Yeah, I mean, season 8, like season 8, Cairo. That was a real. That was a big shocker. That was like kind of sort of the equivalent of episode 9 of Game of Thrones. That was where Patty, the leader of the remnants, slashes her own throat in front of Kevin as a way of framing him for her murder. And his daughter joins with the guilty remnants that same night. I guess to be with her mom, or to like get her mom back, or to like just be just to be a teenager. Wayne has more than one Antichrist, or what do you? I guess it's this. What would you call Jesus when he comes back?
Messiah.
Second coming Jesus.
Messiah.
Yeah, I guess there's more than one little baby Chinese black Messiah baby running around. Yeah, all this stuff gets like revealed in episode 8, and so then episode 9 they go back and you see the moments leading up to the departure, and you see that Kevin actually had an affair with a woman the day of the departure, and so she basically disappeared on him while they were having sex, or right around that time, and he feels bad about that, you know, and now we come back to in episode 10, which is the prodigal son returns. We come back and we see Kevin. He's with the body of Patty, poor dead Patty, on the ground, looking very bloody, and he ends up calling the priest to come help him. So the priest comes, and the priest is no friends with Patty because Patty bought out his church and moved the guilty remnants into his church, and so he's not a big fan of her. So he agrees to go ahead and help Kevin bury Patty so that nobody will know. The whole thing with Patty is really bad because Kevin tends to sleepwalk, and in episode 8 he woke up with Patty tied up and beaten, and him there really not really remembering that he had actually kidnapped her and then beat her and then tied her up in a cabin. So he kind of put himself in a strange spot, but the father is perfectly willing to help him out. They end up burying her. Then Kevin has this weird dream sequence where he gets where the priest takes him to a sane asylum where his dad is, and they basically commit him. So they drag him into the sane asylum and they put him in there, and then he's with his dad, and then Patty's there. He turns around, he sees Patty, and it turns out that his dad's talking to Patty, and then you're like, oh my God, what's going on? But then it turns out to be a dream sequence, which I normally really hate when they do that. But it worked in this situation. It really did. The Kevin's son, meanwhile, he's the one that has one of the little Wayne babies, the little messiahs. He's with Christine, who just basically found out also in episode 8 that there's more than one Christines. She's like one of a few underage Chinese girls that Wayne has impregnated, and Wayne is nowhere to be found, and so she basically thinks that she's been left alone with Kevin's kid Tom and this baby, and she's pretty disillusioned. She ends up making a break for it. She leaves the baby in the bathroom on the ground. Tom has to now is stuck with this kid and having to take care of it and really feeling like he's on his own. Oh, by the way, like when he finds out, right before he finds out that Christine took off, Tom, this is the son, he gets an offer of help from a Christian organization, like a church guy. It's Grace Church, and the guy that offers him help is and the reason why I thought of this is because Johanna, you said you just watched an episode of The Cosby Show for the first time. Great. So one of the characters from The Cosby Show, Elvin, who is the husband of the old, he plays the guy from Grace Church who offers help to Tom, who Tom turns him down. But I was like, who is that guy? And I was like, that's Elvin. When was the last time anybody thought of Elvin? Anyway, so then, as I mentioned, Kevin's daughter, so that's Kevin's son, Tom. Tom is dealing with this. He's also like slightly wanted by the ATF or some organization because they came after Wayne's cult. And meanwhile, the daughter joined up with the Guilty Remnants, and so now there's a great scene where she picks up a cigarette and she lights it and she starts to smoke it, and her mom is there, who is also a Guilty Remnant, and comes over to her and like takes a cigarette from her and starts smoking it. And so it's like, what is she gonna do now that her daughter's joined the Guilty Remnants? Because obviously it's an idiot move to join the Guilty Remnants, and it's very obvious when it's your daughter doing it. and she's just kind of pointing this out to her mom, how stupid this whole thing is, and the mom's like, don't do it now because something big is going down, something big is about to happen. It's been building up for a few episodes now, and we don't know quite what's going to happen. We know that there's some clothing that they stole from people, and we know that there's this whole thing with the fake bodies, and they have the church now as a big space. You don't know, maybe there's going to be a bomb. You don't know, but you know something's bad, and you know it's going to be dangerous. And now they're wondering, do we still do it tonight, even though our boss, Patty, is missing? Lori is sort of in charge, but now Lori's having to deal with her daughter also being a guilty remnant, and her trying to talk her daughter out of being a guilty remnant without being able to talk, because guilty remnants can't talk. And so finally her daughter says in a note, she says, just say something, talk. And if she does it, then she won't. And so now both of them are guilty remnants, and both of them are going on this mission. And what they're doing, guys, is they are taking these fake bodies, because what happens is if your loved one disappears, right, and you don't have anybody to bury, and so there's this company that will supply you a body that looks just like the body of the person that was missing for the purpose of burying them. So they got a bunch of these bodies. They stole pictures from everybody's houses of the people that were missing. So they sent these pictures in, and they got all these bodies sent to them, and they dressed the bodies up into the clothes of the people that were missing, and then they broke back into the houses with these fake people and put them into the positions that they used to be. So one of the women, the one that lost her daughter and lost her 2 kids and her husband, she comes downstairs and finds her 2 kids in her table eating breakfast. And she loses her shit, and you're thinking, oh my God, I don't know if you guys remember, but I told you about her. She's the one that for fun had prostitutes shoot her in the chest while she wore a bulletproof vest. So you're like, this bitch is already crazy, so you're like, what the hell is going to happen now? And because the guilty remnants have just gone all around town, and they've put the bodies back, basically, of the people that got departed, but they're just fake bodies. And so then Kevin ends up getting back into town. Oh wait, I forgot the best part. So then him and the priest are at a diner, right? He confesses to the priest about cheating on his wife the day of the departure. So he's all teared up. He goes to the bathroom, and then he hears somebody crying in the bathroom. And you're like, who's crying in the bathroom? You're thinking maybe it's Tom, but then why isn't there a baby crying? And then you look and you see there's blood coming from under the stall. And then he opens the door, and who is it? No other but Wayne. Wayne has somehow severely damaged his stomach. I don't think that we know exactly what happened. Maybe he stabbed himself, he shot himself. I don't know, but he's dying. And this is the first time these two have met, and Kevin's like, let me go get you some help, and Wayne's like, no, I'll be dead in a few minutes. Don't leave me here alone. Just stay with me. Do me a favor, make a wish. Kevin's like, what? And he's like, make a wish. I'm starting to think that maybe I am a fraud. So make a wish. Grant your wish, then that means that I'm real. And so Kevin makes a wish. And you see Wayne's face light up, and he says, granted. And then he dies. And then the ATF rushes into the bathroom, throws Kevin on the ground, throws dead Wayne on the ground, ties them both up. Eventually they find out that, he's the chief of police, and nobody knows yet that he had a hand in the death of Patty, the lead of, not that anybody would care because everybody hates the guilty remnants. And this is shown by the fact that when he finally gets back into town, there is a full-on riot going on because the town has just gone nuts, and they're just going around you see people dragging these fake bodies, and you can't tell if it's a real body or remnants are running around, and people are chasing them. This one girl is shooting at them. They're tying them up. They're beating them. They're burning down their houses. Kevin goes to their main compound. He finds his ex-wife running out. Lori. She's running out. She's getting pulled out of one of the burning building, and she's about to get beaten. Kevin jumps in, knocks the guy out, and then she finally says, our daughter. I forgot her name. Anyway, Jill. She says, Jill, and it's like the first time she's talked in forever. Jill, she says. And so he goes into the burning, sees all this craziness, this madness, goes through the smoke, and finds her crumpled up. He pulls her out, and he is able to save her from the building, although a lot of other people died because there was a bunch of people in there. And he pulls her out, and he saves her. And his wife looks at him like, "Oh, you're hot because you just saved our daughter." And then she goes off, and she ends up running into Tom, the son. So now the son, Tom, and the girl, they're all together. The one that lost all of her family, she is the only one that didn't go crazy. As a matter of fact, she ends up writing a Dear John note to Kevin, saying that she's basically leaving town. She goes to drop off the Dear John note, and what does she find but a baby? Wayne's baby is left on the porch. So I guess Tom had planned on leaving the baby on the porch of his dad. She finds the baby, and she's like, "Look what I found," because then Jason and his daughter come to the house, and they see she's there, and so you see the baby's there, Tom's there, his daughter's there, his wife is with Tom, the other kid, and you know that the wish he made was to have his family back. And it looks like Wayne maybe not have been a fraud after all. And that is the season finale of The Leftovers.
Now, do you know if this has been picked up for season 2?
I was meaning to look, and I haven't. I assume Joe would know.
I had no interest in finding out, so I have not looked.
I think it has been, actually, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how well it's done amongst his viewers. I mean, I know
his numbers have been climbing since episode 6 or 5.
Yeah, I know the reviews. The reviews have been up and down, but the people that love it really, really love it. The people that don't like it, they hate it. So it's not for everybody. But if it is for you, then you will completely enjoy it. And as we can see, it's not for Joe, but it's for Lorenzo, and I haven't watched it yet. So.
Yeah, I saw the first episode. And if I thought Walking Dead, the first episode of Walking Dead was slow, the episode of The Leftovers was slow.
Yeah, but I mean, based on what Lorenzo's saying, it does pick up, and it does, get to a crescendo, and it does answer at least a few questions. Although I'm sure, shows like that generally open up more questions than they solve as they go along.
That's just it, though. It doesn't it's not like Lost where things just keep getting weirder and weirder. So when he turns around and he sees Patty there, you're thinking, oh, now shit's gonna start getting strange. But it never does. It turns out that it's just a dream, and it seems like it's not there's not more questions that are being answered. It's just digging really deep into those questions that have been asked already. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, good. Well, I look forward to hearing your review next season. I guess next season, if there is a next season, it'll start sometime next year. So we'll still be on the air, and we will we'll tune in then. Johanna, I realized we got a chance to see another episode of Masters of Sex, did we?
Yes, I'm all caught up, and basically the takeaways from these episodes are that everybody is impotent. They're talking about impotent people. They're talking about women with vaginismus, which means their vagina is clenched, so they cannot be penetrated. This is basically the theme of the last 2 episodes. It's why are we excluding Masters and John? Virginia tells Masters why are we excluding all of these people who have dysfunctions? We could be helping them. Masters is it's not about helping, it's about science. But she convinces him to work with some of these people. the guy who like records all the sex stuff. They get him a prostitute because he's impotent, and the woman with vaginismus, he tries to like use a dilator to get her vaginal muscles to stop contracting so much. But yeah, everyone's impotent. It's really depressing. Masters is impotent. So like the last scene of the episode, this past episode, is her like she's been to a therapist, and the therapist is just like, why, you're having this affair, blah blah blah, and she's like goes to Masters and she's like, we're hurting your wife. Your wife is my friend too. Like, how can you possibly he's like, well, I never meant to hurt anybody. And she's like, well, how can you possibly justify this? And he says, oh, because it's for science. Like, this is going to do something. And at this point, she basically says what we're all thinking and basically says, like, fuck this science shit. Like, it's not science. It hasn't been about science for a while. And then he's like, well, now it will be about science because I am impotent and we are going to, like, do a study on me on how to get me to not be impotent anymore. And I'm just like I just the level of denial that this man has about everything in his life is just insane. Meanwhile, like, his wife, I don't know if you guys remember, but like she fired her maid because she was kind of really attracted to like her brother when she found out it was her brother. Her brother is part of like this like activist movement for African Americans, and she gets involved with them because she actually witnesses this guy get like thrown off a truck, and the police are saying that like it was a drug deal. It's very like eerie because it kind of reminded me of the Ferguson case, just because like of the different ways people were seeing it. Like, the police was saying it was a drug deal gone wrong, and the witnesses said no, he was like thrown off a truck and he was bound and gagged. So the only white person who witnessed this is Master's wife. And at first she doesn't want to testify, she doesn't want to say anything about it, and then finally she goes to the office. It's like the name of the place is CORE, like something about racial equality.
Mm-hmm.
And she talks to Coral's brother, and he's like, well, I don't really think you should testify, you're not a good liar. And it's like this definitely the sexually tense moment between them, and she's like, fine, whatever. And then she goes back like 2 days later and is like, I want to volunteer, like, I'll volunteer, I'll do anything for you guys. And he's like, oh really? Well, then go get us sandwiches. And for a minute she like hesitates, but she's like, okay, like, what do you want? So I think she's like genuinely interested in racial equality, but I think she's also genuinely interested in the brother. And I'm kind of here for that because Masters is an asshole. So yeah, basically everyone's impotent. It's not about science. It is about science. It's not. Okay, it is. And Libby, might have jungle fever. So yeah.
Okay. Well, that's so are you more, are you less, are you about the same as far as like your interest level at this point in this season as you were at this point in last season?
Oh god, no. Like, first of all, the characters have decreased. Well, the character stories have decreased, whereas like in the first season around this time, like the wife of the provost who is gay ends up in kind of this fun affair with like the very good looking doctor, and then they kind of end it casually. And then there's also they had like a drill, like a nuclear drill.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like really fun, but fun, but at the same time, like, what's the word, like, it was still deep, but it was fun. This is like the characters that have come in. It's like Lester used to be really great, and he is kind of funny, like in the scene with the prostitute. She's like she's starting to take off her blouse, and she's like, it's really silky, don't you want to feel it? And he's like, I can imagine that from here. And so she's like, okay, I'll be your doctor. Like, I am a doctor of love. Like, I went to, like, and he's like, oh, yeah, what medical school did you go to? And she's like, oh, yeah, like, I just studied all sorts of things. He's like, well, eventually you're going to have to pick a specialty. Like, it's just so, that's like the funniest scene ever. Like, I spit out water when he said, I can see it from here.
Clearly, his impotence runs deep.
Yeah, seriously. So, like, I'm enjoying it more than, like, there was, like, a couple episodes where, like, they did a time jump and it was really depressing. I don't know. Like, they haven't, and it's like you're almost at the end of the second season, and I don't know if you found your voice as a show, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's really hard. It's hard to think, okay, what's next season going to look like? There was this tenor that was set in season 1. Season 2, it kind of changed, and now it's just dark.
Right.
It's dark, and sometimes Lester makes jokes, and, there's the prostitute who's now, like, extremely successful and has made them a lot of money, not prostituting, but by being a really good accountant. And a businesswoman.
Yeah, of course, because that's what they aspire to be. All prostitutes.
Want to be accountants.
They're really all accountants.
You gotta watch that money.
You gotta. She's really good. Money. Like when Virginia says, like, she's like, "What do you mean she's gonna be like? She's gonna keep the books?" And like the prostitute says, "I kept the books at the brothel." Like, she had experience, so. It's better than it's been the past couple of episodes. I think I'm just going to stick with it. It's not a train wreck. Yeah, but it's kind of like, huh. Oh, yeah.
Well, one show that is an absolute train wreck, but it's a train wreck in a beautifully gory, amazing, good way, is our show, Joe, The Strain.
Yes.
The Strain, I have to say, it's gotten better and better every episode. This is a show that has like literally started to, it's caught its own vibe, and it's like it's catching on, and it's like really, it knows where it's going, and you can tell that the directors and the everybody that's in front of this, that's been behind this this show and pushing it, has really, they have a direction as to where they want this show to go, and we don't know where it's going, but we're damn sure having a great time watching it along.
Yeah, and I think we need to start with the previous episode, which I believe was episode 8, which was the isolation episode, where they were stuck in the gas station.
Right.
That was really good.
And it's interesting because that's like one of those, so just like similar to The Walking Dead, that's like one of those one-off episodes where it's kind of one episode about an event that's kind of happening where it's kind of a suspended in time episode, because nothing's actually moving forward or back. It's just kind of, the episode is stuck in that one scene, but it's a really, really, really good episode and a really, really good scene.
Yeah, you're definitely stuck in the moment there because you're wondering whether they get out. Who's gonna die here? Someone's got to go, and it was great. I mean, unfortunately, Jim, played by Sean Astin, had to bite the bullet in this episode.
Yeah.
But the way it was done was fantastic. So I guess let's set it up here. Well, in the beginning of that episode, we find our I guess we'll call them heroes. F, Nora, Jim. They break into a medical facility in search of UV light lamps. Because in the previous episode, they found out that the UV light can harm the vampires. So they go into the medical facility, and who do they run into there? The exterminator himself, Vasily. They find him there, of all people.
Name, huh?
Yeah, Vasily.
I didn't even...
Yeah, they run into him, and he too is stealing the UV lights for himself. So they strike a deal, and he gives them, what was it? It's like 6 lamps.
Yeah.
He was going to keep the rest. So at that time, there didn't seem like there's going to be a pairing, but of course, they leave the medical facility and end up, all of them apparently need to go to this gas station, to the convenience store in the gas station, and You hear a lot of that in the strain as well. Um, so apparently, they all need something from the convenience store and the gas station. Um, you start seeing vampires strolling around. They take out a few of them, and then they all end up in this convenience store. So inside the convenience store, you have the clerk. Um, then you have our heroes, and then you have two more people, or three more people rather. You have two girls who happen to be in there, and then you have the guy who's delivering the bread or stocking the shelves, or whatever he is. Um, and one of the two girls is actually the one that caused the event that took down communications in New York, right? The tall girl with the blonde hair, I forget her name.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
so one thing that that has to point out is like how coincidental is this situation? Like you walk into the one gas station that holds the one individual who was responsible for bringing down the entire, uh, the entire network in New York City. I mean, like literally, how many people are in New York City? Like 17 million or something like that.
Hey, you know what they always
Not
say? It's a
including the
small
dead.
world, Malik. It's a small world.
Yeah, that's really tiny. That's really, really, really tiny. The fact that the way that these, survivors or heroes of sort kind of like coincidentally bump into each other. Look, F and Nora, I get they work together, but and even the old man, that wasn't coincidental. He came to them basically,
Right.
but the rest of these characters, they're kind of hodgepodging together, and it's just kind of they're just running into each other, and they just happen to be doing the same things at the same time. It was just interesting to see how they all just kind of, oh, we're at the gas station. Oh, okay, cool. Like,
Yeah, you knew it was building up to that. I mean, the storylines were separate, and then you knew it was coming. You knew at some point the exterminator had to play a role in
right.
this thing, and at some point, although very coincidental, they were going to run into each other. Um, I don't even care how easy they made it because I was dying for him to join the group because they need him. They really need that
Oh
guy.
no. Well, and it clearly, and by the end of the episode, it clearly shows why they need a guy like him,
Yeah,
and
he,
because he's
he
able to do some of the things that they can't.
exactly. He's the old man, but younger now. So I
Exactly.
think the old man really likes him and definitely wants him to be part of this team.
Right.
Because the guy will do whatever it takes to survive.
Hmm.
But yeah, but anyway, have you ever seen the movie Splinter, by any chance?
I haven't.
Okay, if you do, it's a pretty good horror film. If you ever do get a chance to check it out, it's essentially the same thing,
Mhm.
except that it's not vampires or zombies or anything like that. So it's this creature. If you can tell by the name Splinter, obviously it's about the trees and stuff like that. But anyway,
Is it an M. Night Shyamalan movie, brother?
no,
Like,
it's not an M Night Shyamalan movie.
oh, okay. Thought maybe.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that.
Speaking of Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles.
Yeah. But yeah, they're all stuck. They get stuck in the gas station now. They're all trying to survive, and they hook up the lamps. Because apparently the master vampire has tracked down the old man Abraham, and is sending vampires after him. Because he can kind of mind control them and tell them what to do. So they've been sent to hunt him down. Yeah, they're all like circling the place. I mean, they take out a few here and there, but they know more are coming, and the old man is like, "Yeah, guys, we got to hurry up and figure out the strategy or whatever." In the process, Jim gets into a fight with one of the vampires, and the vampire like kind of just nicks his face with the tongue. Um, and that was enough because that laid one worm in there, and then that worm multiplied within minutes. And Jim was put out to pasture. And Vasily, the F couldn't do it, Nora couldn't do it, and Vasily stepped up to the plate and put 2 bullets in his head, and felt no remorse about it, and said, hey, he had to go, and he just popped him twice in the head. Um,
Exactly.
yeah,
And the reality is that in that situation, like everybody knew that needed to happen. Even Jim himself, when he finally realized that these worms roll up in his body, he was just like, okay, take me out. You got to kill me.
yeah, and he made it quick. F was like, no, we'll find a cure. He's like, find a cure like you did for the airline pilot? No. Kill me now. And the old man was ready to do it. But F stopped him, and then Viselli just came and was like, oh, he got to go. And just shot him twice in the head. But then the vampires make their final assault. They start getting into the convenience store. And, they all make a run for it. They grab their lamps. They set up, and they're like, go out of like a phalanx, kind of like a 300. They all like circle around each other, and they all have lamps on the sides to ward off the vampires, so they can get to what was that, like a bread truck?
Yeah, it was a bread
something like that. Yeah, bread truck. The bread maker didn't make it out. He got killed. And of the two girls that were there, the tall blonde one, who's the one that's responsible for taking out the communication, stays behind while her roommate / lover just runs out the front door. And that's how they found out. She runs out the front door and successfully avoids the vampires and escapes. And that's how the old man was able to deduce that the vampires were sent specifically for him and the rest of the group. So yeah, they get away. They get into the they make their way into the bread truck. They get out. Vasily gets them out of there, and then we pick up right where we left off. Pick up in the new episode, last night's episode. They're still in the bread truck, right? And then they go to F's house because he wants to get his family. And you pick it up from there, Malik.
Well, one of the things that's interesting. I mean, I like how you're doing the rundowns, but one of the things that's interesting about like shows is like sometimes they show you, and this probably happens for your other shows too, like where they show you like a background, or they right before the episode starts they go like, oh, last week on the show, right? And they show you like stuff that happened.
Yeah.
But they don't show you stuff that happened. They don't necessarily show you stuff that happened specifically from last week's episode. They show you stuff that happened from like 2 episodes ago that they haven't yet touched on since then or whatever. And
right.
So there's this opening. So of course in that opening scene, you see last time on the strain you see the beginnings of the situation that happens with F's ex-wife's new boyfriend. Where he is at work, he has a big fight argument with his girlfriend about him calling the police on the FBI, and then he goes to work and he sees one of his coworkers is injured. He goes and I guess confronts the people that he believes are responsible for injuring him. Of course, as fans of the show, we're watching it knowing that the people that he's confronting are vampires, and they are coming after him. So the next, you don't see him again. You don't see him for at least another episode, at least one.
There's 2 episodes, yeah, right?
Yeah. And so the next, so that either one, he got away, or 2, and more likely than that, he is now one of the infected. So we get to F's house, and I'm not sure why. Is F going there to try to find his son? Like, what is he specifically going there for?
I think he was just going there to pick up his family because now the outbreak is more obvious now. So
right,
he's worried about them. He definitely wants to get them out of town now. So
right.
He's over there.
So he goes there, I guess, to find his son. Well, actually, in the beginning, the son comes. So the first thing, the son comes home. The son looks like he was out with a friend and that friend's mother, and he's being driven home. And the mother is also a friend to his mom, so he's being driven home. That mom has been calling the house, and nobody's been picking up the phone. So she drives the son home, and he looks into the window, and they're like, the woman is not sure whether anybody's there. Well, the son looks into the window and says, "Oh no, I see Matt," or whatever his name is, walking, past the window. And so he's like, oh, so he must be home. So she lets him out the house. So the son walks up to the door. He walks in. He's looking for his mom, looking for Matt. He's calling out. Nobody's answering him. The house is completely a mess. Looks like things have been thrown all over the place or whatever. And he sees his soon-to-be stepfather, his stepfather-to-be, who is now a vampire, and tries to kill him. And this kid, with the deft and the quickness of just an amazingly gifted child, figures out he's able to evade this guy for long enough for his father to come home and kill the vampire boyfriend killer guy, who I'm pretty sure that felt pretty damn good to be able to take this guy out. This guy's been like the bane of his existence this entire show thus far. So the opportunity to kill this guy and to kill him and to not, to kill him for a good reason. I'm sure that at some point in time he really like sits back and I hope he feels good about that. So F kills this guy. He gets his son, and he's asking his son where the mother is. No one knows. The mother is nowhere to be found. And so he decides to take his son out. Actually, the old man comes in the house. Him and Vasily, they come into the house. They clear the house to make sure there's no other vampires in the house. And then the old man convinces F to take him away because he basically says, if your ex-wife has been turned, as we know with these vampires, they go after who they love. So the idea would be that the mother would come back to the house, and if your son is still here, then she would attack the son. So let's get your son out of here. Let's get him back to my pawn shop where I can make sure that he's taken care of there and stuff like that. So in the meantime, F, and this is just a weird thing to me. So in the meantime, F decides, in the midst of all of this, that number one, they need to burn the body, which I completely get. They got to burn the body so that the worms inside of him don't infect anybody else or whatever. But the real issue is that he's like worried about what the wife is going to say when she comes home. Like, we need to fix the house up, and we need to burn the body, but we also need to fix the house up. And I thought that was kind of weird. First off, it ain't your house, dude. You don't live here anymore. You're here to pick up your kid, okay? That's number one. Number two, it's a freaking vampire apocalypse going on outside. I don't give a damn about that lamp that's on the floor. Do not care at all. I could care less, okay? I would break more shit in your house. I don't even deal, okay? It doesn't matter to me. So the fact like they were like, oh well, you guys take my son. And then the third thing is, Joe, this is his son that he is sending with some strange people that he just met, because it's not like he's sending Nora with it. The one person who he actually knows.
Yeah, I think circumstances change a little bit.
He sends his son with this 80-year-old dude. He sends his son with freaking, Vasily, the Rat King of New York.
Yeah.
And the hacker goth chick who looks like a meth addict. I mean, like, seriously, I'm not sending my son with these three people. Okay? Number one, none of them, I don't think any of them have my son's best interest at heart. I'm not going to stick around and be like, hey, let me fix up the apartment and burn the body while I would have just throw some gasoline on it, light the guy on fire, and we leave. I don't need to keep the house clean or anything along those lines. I think it was just a segue to lead into what winds up happening between.
Exactly. You needed some alone time.
Exactly. It was a throwaway, cutaway thing. I was like, in the midst. I mean, I'm a parent. Joe, you're a parent. We're all parents on this episode, on this podcast. There's no way in a vampire apocalypse you're going to leave. You're going to tell somebody to go take your kid, who you just found being attacked by a vampire, and you just saved them from being attacked by a vampire.
Hold on. When you said they needed some alone time, you talking about sex?
That's right.
Yeah. Yes,
well, that changes everything.
Yeah.
He needed to get a slice of Mia.
Not happening.
Or Nora. He needed to get some.
I highly doubt that's happening. I highly doubt that you're and I mean, to me, sex during that time, I guess I was trying to find a way to justify it, but I really couldn't. Because it's like, do they have a lot of sex in The Walking Dead? I think Glenn and Maggie.
Glenn and Maggie, Lori and Shane, but they're both dead. Usually, sex is a death sentence when you do that kind of stuff. But
exactly, because it's a deterrent from paying attention to your surroundings, because you're busy paying attention to other things that you shouldn't be when there's death and murder going on around you.
Yeah. But, they managed to fit it in. I have to give them credit. They fit it in and survived.
Yeah, they survived, until the wife's friend comes. The wife's friend, the mother of the lady that dropped off the son, comes in and basically catches them, with their pants down. They run out of the house. They say, "Oh, well, we were just here, we were just here like waiting for my wife to come home, and
Yeah,
yeah, so that's what happened." And like, it's like the
yeah.
worst excuse ever.
I had to check under the hood real quick, and then you know, I'm still looking for her.
But
Yeah,
if you
but
here's,
uh-huh.
here's my information, if you find her, call
Yeah, call Nora.
call my call the woman I'm sleeping with cell phone because my cell phone's not working. So here's her number. I was like, come on, this is crazy. I was like, but yeah, man, you're killing me here, man.
Hey man, if he can hold that together, he's he's doing pretty good. But dude, let's get to the prisoners. I forget their names.
Oh, you're talking about El Gordo and the boxer.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
So so,
Uh,
so yes, we definitely we're in the prison now. We're back in the prison with the boxer. I'm still not sure of
Gus is his
Yes.
name.
And his cousin. We'll just call him El Gordo.
Yeah, that's a fitting name. Yes,
And they're in jail,
Felix.
obviously.
His name is Felix, but you can go with El Gordo.
So they're in jail. Obviously, Felix has been he has been attacked. Well, what happened was he was attacked in a previous episode. He was attacked, and Gus saves his life. But in saving his life, they both get arrested. So now they're in jail. Felix is beginning to turn into a vampire. But everybody else, Gus just thinks he's sick. He's trying to get him medical attention. Finally, the cops basically tell him, "Hey, there's a bus coming to take everybody to Rikers. Get your cousin on that bus because when you get to Rikers, everybody's going to get checked out by a doctor." So they get on the bus to go to Rikers. They're all sitting chained up. The Gus is sitting across from his cousin, and what basically happens is what basically happens is what happens to all these vampires. Eventually, they turn, and that's exactly what happens. The cousin turns, attacks Gus, or throws a tongue at Gus, misses completely because Gus is that quick.
He's a
Misses.
boxer. He's a boxer. He's used to dodge and
He
stuff.
saw it coming. He just completely saw it coming. He was looking at his cousin right in the face, like, "Hey, dude, what's wrong with you?" And then the tongue came out, and he just ducked. He just moved out the way. It was so fast. But unfortunately, the cops who were driving the truck were not as quick, and they were attacked by the fat cousin, by Felix, and he's able to get a hold of the cops, kill them. The other cops. Now this is the thing that bugs me out, Joe. So the one cop gets attacked. El Gordo attacks him, kills that guy. The other cop gets out of the car, comes to the back, has his gun drawn, is pointing it at this thing that just killed your partner, and doesn't shoot. He does not shoot El Gordo. Why not? Just shoot him. First off, even if he is human, he's a freaking prisoner. Okay? Look,
I think he saw the tongue go through the what do you call that, the viewing window when they have to look through the prisoners from the front seat. I
yeah,
don't know what you call that. But if he didn't see an 8-foot tongue come through there, I'm sure he did see that. Yeah, no questions asked. Shoot, and then you ask questions later.
dude. Look, unfortunately, we're in an unfortunate time where the police are shooting, people who are completely unarmed. Okay,
Right.
and yet this cop won't shoot a guy who just shot an 8-foot tongue out of his mouth. Like no, that's the guy you shoot. As a matter of fact, I'd shoot everybody in there. Okay, I'd shoot all of them. All of them would have got shot. I got 15 bullets. I'm wasting them all on every single one of you, and then I will figure it out later. All right, one of them started spitting out their tongue. I don't know which one it was, but I shot them all just to make sure.
Yeah. Well, why didn't he attack the bald-headed dude right in front of him, and get his blood, or the guy next to him? But he waits for the cop to come in and then attacks him immediately.
Exactly.
And then what you call it? Gus picks up the gun, right? And then double taps his cousin, right?
Yes.
To the head, which I don't think is going to matter now because he's already turned. But they didn't really show the aftermath. But I believe he'll probably get back up.
Well, no. After he's been shot in the head?
Yeah, I mean it's on.
After they've been shot in the head?
Yeah, I mean they're vampires now. I mean the bullets are not gonna, the regular bullet's not gonna hurt him. It needs to be silver.
Oh, okay.
I think since he's already been turned. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see if those other three prisoners, because Gus just flat left everybody, took the gun and then took off.
Yeah.
And left them in the. And I can't wait to see how he teams up with the Super Friends over there.
Well, you ain't catching Gus. He's a Spanish boxer. I've watched those 24/7 boxing episodes. Those Spanish boxers. Them guys run for days. they just keep moving. Like he's good at it. So he's not getting away. He's getting away pretty much from anything. But yeah, I mean, and so the episode, you know, there's all that going on in the episode, and you know, probably the best part of the episode is the reveal at the end. So, you know, we finally get a chance to see what the Master looks like. And, yeah, he's a ugly bastard. I mean, seriously, I know why he wears the hood.
Yeah, definitely.
I can definitely tell why he wears the hood. I don't even know that I'd want to spread that to anybody. Like, I think I'd just be okay just kind of living my life under that hood for the rest of my days. I don't think I kind of want to spread the strain to anybody if I took a look in the mirror and saw what I looked like. But he is a big, you know, 9-foot, no nose having. I mean, he looks just like the Nosferatu from the movie.
Yeah. And yeah, very very similar. Yeah, and he just shows up. He like what's his name? The army, the German soldier, Thomas Eichhorst.
Yep.
Eichhorst. He's in there. He's like. He follows it. Well, they go back in time, right? They go back to the World War II, and I guess the Allies have infiltrated the camp, and he's actually getting ready to have the Abraham killed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Abraham's going to be killed, and then the Allies infiltrate the camp, and then Abraham's able to escape, and Eichhorst, he escapes as well, and he makes his way to a bunker which houses the coffin that the Master sleeps in. And he gets into this bunker and he's like, "Why have you forsaken me?" and then he shows up. He shows up. You know, the candles get blown out. He shows up, and it was disgusting, man. When he took off the hood, I was like, "Man, that is nasty." And the way he turned him, like no bite. He just kind of, you knew like the worm was gonna play. You know, kind of like cuts himself on the finger, lets a worm come out. And cuts him, gives him a real big cut with his fingernail, and then the worm just climbs into the cut, and then you know, they don't show it, but you know he turns at that point.
Yeah, I mean it was actually really disturbing because it was very sexual in nature, and I think that you assume that the big vampire guy is male, and of course Eichhorst is male, and you know I look. I'm just kind of getting accustomed to seeing you know, man on man stuff on television, and like, so I'm really not ready for, you know, male big ugly vampire on man, you know, sexual stuff on TV. It's just not. I'm not ready for it yet. I'm not there. I'm not ready for it yet. Somebody tell Guillermo del Toro that turn that shit down.
Well, we'll see where the next episode gets us with that. But you know what? The only thing that I'm disappointed in right now is you've teased me with the vampire hunters. Now I really want to see them.
Oh, you mean the guys that shot the lady?
Yeah, 3 episodes ago. So now I've seen the vampire hunters. Now I only want to see more vampire hunters, because.
I think everybody's looking for that. Well, you know, we're pretty sure we're going to get something in the next episode or two.
Yeah, I hope so, because I'm really looking forward to that. Now if you could team him up with the old man and F, now you're building an army. Now you're getting somewhere. You're getting something now, something to fight Eichhorst and the Master, because clearly all of New York is going to be contaminated in like what seems like to be a few days. It's not gonna take very long.
Yeah, and here's my last question. Like the hacker lady, like, can she do anything to reverse? Did they ask, like, you know, hey, can you do anything to reverse it so that, you know, people can communicate again?
No, because remember, she gets back to her apartment, and she says that her friend stole all her cash and took the backup drive.
Oh yes, her laptop and all of that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and took it. Why would she take that?
Yeah. Is she gonna?
I had no idea.
What's the
But
purpose of that?
yeah,
She's not the genius. This girl.
exactly.
Exactly.
There's only maybe 3 people in the world that could have done what she did.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's what I'm saying. That's like your best friend is a heart surgeon and you run into the house and steal their scalpel. Like you
yeah,
have no freaking use for it. Like what the hell is it gonna do for you?
it's like why did she take it? And then I guess her boyfriend returns, her ex-boyfriend or somebody returns, and
Oh
he's a vampire, and Vasily takes care of him rather quickly. It amazes me how they get up so close, stab him, the blood splurts out, but nobody gets infected by a worm. Because that they tell you right off the bat, don't get too close. You don't want any worms to fall on you. But they all manage. The ones that are meant to survive manage to not ever get infected, and the ones that are written in the script to die, they seem to get infected rather easily, doing kind of the same things that the other people are doing. But you know what? I don't care because I'm enjoying the ride.
yeah, no. I mean, look, it's a show that's going in a bunch of different directions and it's a lot of fun. And some of the stuff doesn't make any sense, but guess what? It's a zombie vampire apocalypse. Is it really supposed to at this point?
That's right.
So that's it. So we've done our quick rundowns. We've done a little bit of everything. We've given you some new stuff that's coming out. We've talked about what we're currently watching, and last but not least, we discussed the fact that you don't need to be watching any movies. Just stay home and watch TV for the rest of your fall until we tell you to go back to the movies when it's safe. So, without further ado, I am Malik, and for Joe, Lorenzo, and Johanna, we are the Agents of Helm. Catch us on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest. Johanna's going to be putting pictures of her cakes up, and recipes. So look out for that. You can find us on just about any network. agentsofhelm.com. Listen to our podcasts and comment and post and do whatever you want to do, and we will respond. So I'm gonna send it over to Lorenzo to Lorenzo, do you have anything else for us, or are we ready to go?
What do you mean?
Do you have anything else to say? You always have something to say. You have anything else to say?
Let's see. No, you caught me off guard. I'm actually doing something totally different now. Let me think.
I was gonna tell you. You know what? I was gonna ask you like old school. Can you beatbox us out?
Yeah, I'll beatbox this out.
All right. So
Awesome.
So Lorenzo, I will kick it over to you to beatbox us out. Give us a.
Joe.
Yes. Should we stop? Wait, let me stop now.
Yep.
No, I'm thinking don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. I have a question. So there was something that I totally forgot to bring up on the conspiracy show that I was like, man, I wish I had brought that up on the conspiracy show. And we talked about it briefly, Johanna. It was, well, there's two things. One is the Judas goats. Do you remember? Did we talk about that?
Yeah, we did talk about the Judas goats.
Right, but not on the show.
No, we talked about it on the show.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, we talked all about it.
I should listen to it then.
Uh-huh.
And the other thing was walk lights. Did we talk about that?
Walk lights?
Yeah.
We didn't.
So you know how when you go up to a light and there is a don't walk sign, you can push the button and it'll change it to a walk sign.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
those don't actually do anything. Those buttons aren't connected to anything anymore. The whole thing is done by computers and algorithms and stuff. So it's very much the system knows when to change and when not to change. So nothing you do is going to affect it. So a long time ago, those buttons stopped doing anything, but they kept them there just so people would still think they had some sort of influence on whether or not the light changed.
Well, that's the same thing as touchscreens, and how unless you option out of it, whenever you touch like the keys, like if you're typing something on the touchscreen, it makes like a tappy noise. Oh, the same thing also with phones. Like when you dial out on a touchscreen or on anything else, well, on a touchscreen, it'll still give you the tones and it'll give you the ringtone, even though those are no longer necessary at all.
That's interesting because I never actually believed that those buttons on the street lamps were actually doing anything anyway.
Yeah, I never use one.
You never what?
I said I don't use them. I mean, I see them, I don't touch them because I know they don't do anything. They're just like, the light's not gonna change. Not that I knew it for sure. I'm just like, the light's not gonna change because you press that button.
So then this would be one of those things where like you kind of suspected it, but you didn't really know.
Right, but I just I know common sense tells me, and knowledge of computers tell me that me pressing that button has no influence on that light changing.
But my point, though, I guess if I had one, was that it's there though to make you think that you do have.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people still think that. I see people press them all the time.
Oh, I press them. I'm terrified of intersections and other car pedestrian related things, so I always press it.
But it really doesn't do anything except make you feel better.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely makes me feel better.
So it's just like a tool that the government is using to manipulate you into feeling a certain way.
Considering all the other feelings and things that the government could make me feel, this is pretty low on the list of worries.
It's not necessarily something to worry about. It's just an interesting little factoid.
I mean, I enjoyed the factoid. Thank you.
That's cool. Yeah, and you know what? The next time, I know my daughter likes to press the button, but I don't think she is doing it for any particular reason other than she likes to press buttons.
Yeah.
And I don't tell her that she doesn't. I tell her that she doesn't have to. I don't even think she even thinks that it does anything to get the cars to stop. Because I mean, be honest, if it really did work, there would be shitloads of traffic. Because people would press the button all the time.
I mean, I remember when they used to work. Like I remember in Maryland, like me and my friend we would that's exactly what we would do. We would fuck with the traffic. We would go up and push the button, and then wait for it to change, and then wait for it to change, and then not cross the street, or we might cross the street, and then as soon as we got to the other side, we would push the button again, and it would change right back. And they actually used to work. So there was a time when those buttons did something.
Yeah, and then some kid probably got stabbed by a driver because he kept pressing the stinking buttons, and the government was like, "All right, it's not a good idea." Because that would piss me off to holy hell.
Well, you know what it was really. I mean, it might have been that, but what it probably really was that machines became more efficient at knowing when to push the button than people on the street who actually needed the button pushed. You know what I mean? Like the machines and computers got better at knowing when somebody needed that button pushed than the people did.
Who was the button supposed to benefit? Right? That's my question. Is it supposed to benefit just the normal average pedestrian, or is it supposed to benefit people that have trouble crossing the street?
I think it was supposed to. Those buttons would be on a busy intersection where the traffic, if there's nobody that needs to cross that intersection, then the traffic doesn't really need to stop. So you push the button, and that tells the machine, oh, okay, let's stop the traffic so that people can cross. But they got so good at the mathematics and stuff that they were able to predict when there would be enough people to warrant the street changing to let them cross the street.
Right.
So that's kind of like, this is an example of like automation and the computer and the grid like controlling your life, and yet kind of letting you think that you still control it.
Yeah, I guess it's it's kind of waste. It's maybe the government also didn't want to waste the money of taking them out. They don't work, just leave them there. Whatever. No big deal.
Exactly.
I just want to remind you, this is the conspiracy theory show.
No. Look, you can take that part out. That was just more me being a detractor to your conspiracy theorists. That's fine.
No, I think that is indeed worthy of conspiracy theory status. I mean, it is true, but it's also really fucking creepy, in my opinion.
I think what would be really creepier is if like there were cameras inside of them or something like that.
Oh well, Homeland has taught me that there are cameras everywhere. So.
Oh man, I can't wait for that show.
I still need to
I
watch
still
season
have to-
3.
I need to watch season 2.
Oh, it is coming back.
What is that? Does somebody have a TV on in the background or something?
Yeah. Well, it's not TV. It's watch ESPN app.
Yeah.
Joe, give me season 2.
Yeah, can
Okay,
you put,
having
yeah,
it.
give him all the seasons so far so that like we can talk about it without Lorenzo being spoiled.
Yeah, I still need to watch season 3.
That's not going
Good
to
stuff.
stop me from being spoiled, Johanna.
I'm not spoil. I've been very good about not spoiling it for you.
I just thought you meant me in general.
Oh no, I mean you might get spoiled by someone else, but it won't be me.
What are you talking about? You bake me cakes like every week.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, and I did make you that pudding that one time, and I keep meaning to make a double batch of it for who else wanted pudding? Joe. Joe wanted pudding. So.
Oh wait, we got pudding?
Yeah, I make this raw chocolate vegan pudding, and I made it for Lorenzo because we like worked on like this 6-hour thing, and Chelsea had some, and Joe was upset because I did not bring him any. So I'm gonna make a double batch next time, and yes, Malik, you can have some.
Aw, thank you. So nice.
It's really good, and it's raw chocolate, so it kind of gives you a little bit of a buzz.
Gosh, man, it's awesome.
Getting high.
Yeah.
Let me get some of that chocolate.
It does make me a little high, but you guys know I'm sensitive to like substances. But
Yeah,
like
you can't have champagne and chocolate together. Not happening.
I'm gonna make that happen. I think that might be very interesting. Yeah.
Okay, you can stop
yeah, no,
recording.
it's-
then.
Oh yeah, you can stop recording now, Joe.
I
Yeah.
can start recording now.
Oh yeah, I thought you already did actually.
Oh, there's somebody viewing. Say hello to the viewer. Say goodnight.
I love you, viewer.
Good
Thank
night,
you. Thanks
viewer.
for listening.
Thank you for watching.
Agentsathelm.com. This will be there, and it'll
Leave
be
a
better.
comment.
Yeah.
Leave a comment. Let us know who you are.
Or you don't have to tell us who you are.
Oh, you can just stalk us. It's cool.
Yeah, just stalk us. We prefer it actually. Because
Bye.
then we're gonna like say that you're the government, and that the government, our only watcher, our only viewer is the government.
I'd be completely okay with that if our only viewer was George
Yeah.
W. Bush.
George Bush.
He'll tell his friends.
George
He will
Bush is
tell
not
his
the
friends.
government anymore. Thank God.
Aren't you always the government after, like, even though you're the president, aren't you former president? Like, aren't you still always a part of the government? Like, don't they get, like, I heard they get, like, a newsletter or something like that that tells them, like, all the crazy stuff that's going on, like, on a weekly basis or something like that. They get something in the mail.
Yeah, well, they better. They get Secret Service protection the rest of their life, so they'll.
But
yeah,
I'm
they
pretty
get
sure,
a-
I'm pretty sure they're, like, the Clint Eastwood agents. Like, like they, I don't think they get the top of the line guys. I think they get, like,
Hold on,
the
Clint
old,
Eastwood
in the line
from the
of fire.
movie, or Clint Eastwood now?
No, Clint Eastwood now. I think.
Oh man, that's rough.
I think they get, like the Secret Service agents that are, close to retirement.
Yeah, they get those guys. They get the short timers.
Exactly.
We get Danny Glover.
Yeah.
We get the Danny Glover of the Secret Service.
I shouted it.
Oh, just for our one viewer, do we still have the deal that if you leave a comment that you get to be on our show?
Yeah.
That was your deal.
I'm sure that was the deal you put out there. And I believe it was 3 comments. I believe
Yeah,
it
3
was.
comments, buddy. So you better get typing, pal.
I shudder to think who Barack Obama's secret agents will be when his is all over. When his run is finished. Maybe it will be Danny Glover.
Yeah, it might be Danny Glover.
Be Danny Glover, like dude, you're not even an agent. I played one though.
Look at Danny Glover and Mel Gibson.
Oh man, that would be funny.
Oh, I was trying to think of something to say because in the movies like we gotta register you as a lethal weapon. I'm trying to think. He'd be too old to be registered as a lethal weapon. We have to register you for those adult diapers or something. I don't know.
No, we have to register you for Lifeline.
Yeah.
Danny Glover's fallen and he can't get back up.
Get one of those.
That's probably what they're gonna give Obama, like a life alert button. That's gonna we're not giving. You don't need Secret Service agents. Here, just press this button. We'll come and
Here
get
you go.
We'll come running. We'll come running within like 30 minutes. Don't worry.
Thanks for being our president for 8 years. Here's a free 30 days of ADT.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's great. Well, thank you, one viewer. I think I'm gonna cut out now. It's almost midnight, or maybe it is midnight. Yeah, it is midnight.
It is midnight.
I gotta hopefully I can get up early enough to pick up the laundry from my kids. They close the laundromat.
Oh no. Here, let me cut this now.